Listen to me and listen well. This is not just another moment in the endless blur of your days. This is the moment, the one that will define whether you rise or stay chained to the same pain that has gripped you for too long. I'm not here to comfort you with soft whispers or pretty lies. I'm here to wake you up, to shake the very ground you stand on, because the life you've been living is not the one you were meant for. No, it's a shadow of what could be, and deep down you feel it, don't you? That gnawing ache, that quiet scream within your chest that tells you something's not right, that this isn't how it's supposed to end. You've been carrying it for so long, haven't you? The weight of their words, their doubts, their dismissals. They told you who you were, and for a while you believed them. They said you weren't enough, and somehow you let those lies seep into the cracks of your soul. You walk through your days like a ghost, your heart beating but your spirit caged. It's as though you're standing on a shore, staring out at an endless sea of regret, fear, and pain, with wave after wave crashing over you. Desperation soon sets in and clutches hold of your hopes. Pull, pull, pull. And every time you think you found your footing, another comes, harder and faster, pulling you under again. But here's what you need to understand. Those waves, they're not just here to drown you, they're here to test you. They are relentless, yes, but so are you. You've forgotten that, haven't you? You've let them convince you that you're powerless, that the tide is too strong, that your fight is over. But let me tell you something. They're wrong. They've always been wrong. Look at yourself. Really look. I know it hurts to see the pieces, the cracks, the jagged edges of what you once were. I know the temptation to turn away, to close your eyes and pretend it's not as bad as it feels. But ignoring it won't save you. Numbing yourself won't heal you. This isn't the time to run. It's the time to face the storm, to meet the waves head on and remind them who you are. Being afraid to go to a new place means making a new friend. Keep going, leave the waves head on, and remind them who you are. Because here's the truth, you were built for this. Every scar, every wound, every ache that has threatened to break you has also been quietly building you into something unstoppable. You can't see it yet, but it's there. Like the calm beneath the chaos of the waves, there's a strength in you that they fear. Yes, those who doubted you, who tried to bury you in their hate, their apathy, their smallness. They didn't break you, no matter how hard they tried. And oh, how they tried. But you're still here, aren't you? Even when the waves knocked you down, even when you felt like the salt of regret was burning through your skin, you didn't stay under. You may feel weak, battered, and bruised, but weakness isn't what brought you this far. Survival did. And survival is not passive. It is not accidental. Survival is defiance, and every breath you take is proof that the waves haven't won. Oh, do you feel it yet? That spark deep inside you? It's small, I know. It flickers like a candle in the wind, almost too faint to see. But it's there, and it's waiting for you. To protect it, to nurture it, to let it grow until it becomes a fire so fierce, even the waves won't dare to touch it. Because you see, the waves can crash as hard as they want, but they can't drown the fire you're about to ignite. At the end of the bicycle, the fire is burned as high, and the way turns blue for the light you thought you loved, only to tear it to pieces. Because you see, the waves can crash as hard as they want, but they can't drown the fire you're about to ignite. This is your wake-up call. This is the moment where you decide. Will you let the waves drag you further out to sea, or will you find your footing and push back? Will you let the voices of doubt, fear, and regret dictate your story, or will you drown them out with the roar of your own triumph? They've had their turn. It's yours now. Alas, it is the shrinking game, and whatever form you choose, it will only take two to take your story. Alas, it is the shrinking game. It's yours now. Close your eyes, just for a second, and picture it. Picture the moment when the waves no longer terrify you, when you stop bracing for their impact and start moving through them with a strength so fierce they part in your presence. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of this moment. Power, clarity, and the kind of confidence that will leave them trembling. Because here's the thing about waves. They're relentless, yes, but so are you. Waves come and go. They crash and retreat. But you have the power to outlast them, to learn their rhythm, to turn their force into your momentum. Their regret will come in waves they can't stop, but your strength will rise like the tide, unstoppable, undeniable. So I ask you now, what are you gonna do? Will you let another wave knock you down, or will you rise, stronger, fiercer, and more determined than ever before? The choice is yours. and the time is now. This is not just another story. This is your story, and it begins here. You've been through it, haven't you? That kind of pain that doesn't just touch you, it consumes you. The kind that wraps itself around your chest, squeezes tight, and makes it hard to breathe. It's not just the big moments, the betrayals, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, but the quiet ones too. The moments when you're alone, staring at the ceiling in the dead of night, and the weight of it all comes crashing down. The moments when you question everything, your worth, your choices, your purpose. You've felt invisible, unheard, and unseen, like you're screaming into the void, and no one even bothers to listen. Let me tell you something. I see you. I see the cracks they left behind, the scars they thought would break you. I see the way you hold it together in front of everyone, pretending you're fine when inside you're falling apart. And I know why you do it. Because the world has taught you that weakness is shameful, that pain is something to be hidden, that your struggles are a burden no one wants to carry. But here's the thing, they're wrong. Your pain is not your shame, it is your proof. Proof that you've lived, that you've loved, that you've cared so deeply it left a mark. And those marks, they are not signs of defeat, they're signs of survival. Yet, I know it doesn't feel that way right now. Because you've been carrying more than just pain. You've been carrying their words, the ones they flung at you like daggers, piercing through your confidence, tearing down the walls you built to protect yourself. Do you remember the first time someone told you that you weren't enough? Maybe they didn't say it outright. Maybe it was the way they looked at you, the way they dismissed your ideas, the way they chose someone else over you. Or maybe they did say it, loud and clear, their voice dripping with disdain, their words cutting deeper than they had any right to. And somehow, you believed them. You took their poison and let it seep into your soul, convincing yourself that they must be right. But they weren't, and they never will be. Their words weren't the truth. They were a reflection of their own fears, their own insecurities, their own failures. Yet here you are, carrying the weight of their projections, as if they were your own. And it wasn't just them, was it? Society had its hand in this too. A world that thrives on telling you what you're not, instead of celebrating what you are. Too loud, too quiet, too bold, too timid, too much, not enough. They've boxed you in, slapped labels on you, and expected you to conform to their expectations. And when you didn't, when you dared to be different, dared to want more, they punished you for it. Somehow it even pleases them. St. George declares that there's a gentle hand in heaven to wait long enough to give you what you deserve, and more than that, they punished you for it. They told you to sit down, to stay silent, to be grateful for the crumbs they offered. They made you feel small because your greatness scared them. Does this sound familiar? Do you feel that way? And then there are the relationships, the people who were supposed to love you, protect you, lift you up. Some of them did the opposite. Maybe it was a friend who turned their back on you when you needed them most. Maybe it was a lover who made you feel like you were too hard to love, too complicated, too broken. Maybe it was family, the ones who were supposed to be your foundation, who instead became the ones to shake it to its core. Or because your foundation, your soul, was ripped apart by the ones taking advantage of your brokenness. Sometimes your grief-stricken body crumbled before their eyes. Sometimes your grief-stricken body crumbled before their eyes. Maybe it was a lover who turned their back on you when you needed them most. Maybe it was a lover who's supposed to be whoever it was. They left you questioning your worth, your place in their world, your ability to ever be truly loved. You've been told to let it go, to move on, to stop dwelling on the past. But how can you let go of something that feels like it's still happening? How can you move on when the wounds are still open, still bleeding, still raw? It's not that you don't want to heal, you do. But no one ever taught you how. No one ever told you that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about facing. It's about standing in front of your pain and saying, I see you, but you don't control me anymore. And that's why we're here. Because you've been carrying this weight for too long and it's time to put it down. But first, you need to understand it. You need to name it, feel it, let it out into the open. Because the villains in your story, the people, the systems, the doubts, they only have power when you let them hide in the shadows. When you drag them into the light, when you call them out for what they are, their power begins to fade. So let's call them out, one by one. Let's name the betrayals that broke your trust. Let's confront the heartbreaks that made you question your worth. Let's face the doubts that whisper in your ear every time you try to step forward. Let's acknowledge every time someone underestimated you, dismissed you, tried to make you small. Let's say their names, their actions, their words, and strip them of the power they've held over you. But let me remind you of something. They didn't break you. Yes, they hurt you, deeply and unfairly. But breaking? No. That didn't happen, because breaking means they won, and you're still here, aren't you? You're still breathing, still fighting, still searching for something better. That is not the mark of someone who is broken. That is the mark of someone who is unyielding. This isn't the end of your story. It's just a chapter, one filled with struggle and pain, yes, but also resilience. And do you know what comes after this chapter? The one where you rise, the one where you take everything they did, everything they said, and turn it into fuel. Because you are not their victim. You are not defined by their actions, their opinions, or their failures. You are defined by what you do next. Yes. So let the villains have their moment. Let them think they've won. Because what's coming next is something they can't stop. Your strength, your power, your rise. And when their regret comes in waves, it will be because they underestimated you. It will be because they thought you were weak, but they were wrong. It will be because they tried to break you, and all they did was teach you how to rebuild, stronger than ever before. I see you, and I know your pain, but I also see your potential. And trust me, that potential, it's something they'll regret ever doubting. Do you feel it? That sinking, suffocating weight that drags you down, deeper and deeper, until you're not sure if you'll ever reach the surface again? Despair is not just a feeling, it's a place, a dark, endless expanse where time slows, and the echoes of your doubts ring louder than any hope you once held. It feels like drowning, doesn't it? Every breath harder than the last, every moment spent treading water just to keep your head above the waves. We all do. And the worst part? You're so tired. Tired of fighting, tired of hoping, tired of believing that things could ever be different. But let me tell you something about despair. It's insidious. It whispers lies that sound like truths. It tells you that you've already lost, that the pain will never end, that nothing you do will ever be enough. And when you listen, when you let those lies settle into your soul, despair begins to feel like home, familiar, safe even. Because as painful as it is, staying in despair requires nothing of you. No risk, no vulnerability, no effort. It allows you to stay where you are, unchallenged and unchanged. And then along came Samuel and his cyborgs. And the Archangel's story takes a turn for the worse, but at what cost? What does it cost you to stay in this place, this prison built of fear and self-doubt? The answer is everything. Every dream you once held, every spark of potential within you, every moment of joy that could have been yours. Despair is a thief, and its currency is your future. With every day you remain stuck, you trade away a piece of what could be. You trade away opportunities, connections, growth, all for the false comfort of staying where it's safe. And yet, I know why you stay. I know why the thought of moving forward feels impossible. It's not just the exhaustion, it's the fear. The fear of failing again, the fear of being hurt again, the fear that maybe, just maybe, despair is all there is for you, that this is all life has to offer. But let me ask you this, is this really living, or is it merely existing, floating aimlessly in a storm with no destination in sight? Imagine for a moment that you're lost at sea, surrounded by nothing but water and darkness. The waves crash against you, cold and relentless, and every stroke you take feels like it's pulling you further from shore. It would be easier to stop, wouldn't it? To let yourself drift, to surrender to the current, to let the waves decide your fate. But do you know what happens when you stop swimming? The waves don't carry you to safety. They carry you further out, further away, until the shore is no longer even a memory. That's what despair does. It convinces you that surrender is your only option, that fighting is futile, that you might as well let go. But that's a lie, because the truth is, you have a choice. You always have a choice. It may not feel like it right now, but within you lies the power to decide. Will you let the waves take you, or will you fight for the chance to see the shore again? You are alive. The only question is, are you alive for the right reasons? Or are you eluding the decisions of fate, whether it's a truce or a ritual, whether it's success or failure? I can hear the excuses forming in your mind, but I'm too tired. I don't know how. I've tried before and I failed. And I get it, I do. You've tried to climb out of this before, only to be pulled back in. You've fought and you've lost, and the thought of going through that again is almost unbearable. But here's what you need to understand. Failure is not the end, it's a lesson. Every time you've fallen, you've learned something, even if you didn't realize it. Failure is a lesson. Every time you've fallen, you've learned something, even if you didn't realize it. And those lessons, they're what will carry you forward. They're what will make you stronger. Let's be honest with each other. You're scared. Scared of trying, scared of hoping, scared of believing that you might actually deserve more than this. Because what if you're wrong? What if you fail again? What if the pain gets worse before it gets better? Those questions are real, and they're valid. But let me ask you this. What if you're not wrong? What if you succeed? What if you rise? What if the life waiting for you on the other side of this is more beautiful, more fulfilling, more powerful than you've ever imagined? You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly how you'll get out of this storm. But you do have to take the first step. Because staying here, in this place of despair, is not just a choice. It's a decision to let the waves win. And you were not made to lose to the waves. You were made to rise above them, to use their force to propel yourself forward, to turn their power into your own. I'm not gonna lie to you. It won't be easy. The journey out of despair is not a straight line. It's a series of steps, of stumbles, of moments when you'll want to give up. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom, toward hope, toward a life that feels like your own again. And every time you choose to keep going, you take back a little bit of the power that despair tried to steal from you. Because here's the thing about despair. It's loud, it's overwhelming, and it's persistent. But it's also temporary. It only lasts as long as you let it. The moment you decide to fight, to move, to try, despair begins to lose its grip. It doesn't happen all at once, and it doesn't happen without effort. But it does happen. And when it does, you'll realize something incredible. The strength you needed to escape the storm was within you all along. Jack.Joe, do more. So I'll ask you again, what are you going to do? Will you let despair define your story, or will you choose to rewrite it? Will you let the waves take you, or will you learn to swim? The choice is yours. And while it may not feel like it right now, I can promise you this. You are capable of so much more than you know. And the moment you begin to believe that, the waves will have no choice but to bow to your strength. Here's the truth you've been waiting to hear. Your pain is not your end, it's your beginning. The storm that tore through your life, the waves that tried to drown you, the fire that threatened to consume you, they didn't destroy you. They tempered you. They forged you into something stronger, something sharper, something the world cannot ignore. And now, it's time to rise. Let's talk about scars. The world tells you to hide them, to smooth them over, to pretend they don't exist. But why? Scars are not signs of weakness, they're proof of survival. Every mark you carry is a testament to the battles you've fought and the wars you've won. They are your armor now, not to shield you from the world, but to remind you of your strength. When the light hits those scars, it doesn't reveal your brokenness, it reveals your brilliance. Stars are so powerful because they reveal your brilliance, your bravery, your victory, your brilliance, your merit. Wear them proudly because they tell a story the world needs to hear. Do you see it yet? The power that lies within you, waiting to be claimed? The same waves that tried to bury you are the ones that taught you how to swim. The same fire that tried to consume you left behind ashes from which you can rise. Your struggles aren't chains, they're tools. And when you learn to wield them, there's nothing you cannot overcome. Now, I want you to shift your perspective. Take a step back and look at your life, not as a victim of circumstance, but as the author of your story. What if every hardship, every heartbreak, every betrayal was not a curse but a blessing in disguise? What if the things that tried to break you were really shaping you, preparing you for a purpose greater than you ever imagined? Let's face it, success is necessary for happiness, but it takes a curse to do it. Not easy to see it when you're in the middle of the storm, but hindsight has a way of revealing the truth. Your struggles are the forge, and you are the weapon being crafted. Let me ask you this. What do you think scares them the most? The people who doubted you, dismissed you, underestimated you? What keeps them up at night? It's not your pain, they've seen that. It's your power. The moment you realize what you're capable of, the moment you stop believing their lies and start living your truth, that's when the fear sets in. Because they know they can't control someone who knows their own worth. They know they can't stop someone who refuses to give up. So let them watch. Let them see you rise. Let them feel the regret wash over them in waves they can't stop. Because you're not just surviving anymore, you're thriving. And there's nothing more terrifying to them than the sight of someone they tried to break, standing tall, unshaken, and unstoppable. But let's get practical for a moment. Rising doesn't happen in an instant. It's a process, a journey, a series of small but powerful choices. You don't wake up one day and suddenly have it all figured out. No, you build resilience brick by brick, step by step. And it starts with a single decision: to try, to get up, to take one more step forward, even when it feels impossible. Because trying is the lesson of resilience. And it's the lesson that resilience requires. Rising from ranks of suffering to every day. Here's how you do it. Start small, but start now. You don't have to climb the entire mountain today. All you need to do is take the first step. Maybe it's reaching out for help. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's simply choosing to believe for just one moment that things can get better. Small steps lead to big changes, and every step forward is a victory. Embrace self-awareness. Get to know yourself. Not the version of you that others try to define, but the real you. The one who dreams, who feels, who fights. What do you want? What do you need? What brings you joy? The more you understand yourself, the less power others have to define your worth. Turn pain into fuel. Pain is energy, and energy can be transformed. Take all the anger, all the heartbreak, all the despair, and channel it into something meaningful. Write, create, move, speak, whatever it takes to turn your pain into progress. Let it drive you, not define you. Build relentless determination. Resilience isn't about never falling, it's about never staying down. Expect setbacks, expect challenges, but promise yourself this: no matter what happens, you will keep going. You will rise again and again until rising becomes second nature. Surround yourself with strength. You are not meant to do this alone. Find people who see your value, who believe in your potential, who remind you of your power when you forget. Let go of those who drain you, who doubt you, who keep you tethered to the past. Surround yourself with people who will lift you and keep you higher. Finally, say yes. Redefine success. Success isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about becoming more of who you are, not who the world expects you to be. Celebrate every step forward, no matter how small, and remember that the journey is just as important as the destination. And as you take these steps, as you rebuild and rise, something incredible will happen. You'll start to see yourself in a new light, not as someone who is broken, but as someone who is becoming. Not as someone defined by their past, but as someone shaping their future. And that future, it's yours to claim. Let this be the moment you stop running from your pain and start running toward your power. The moment you decide that your story is not over, that the best chapters are still unwritten. The moment you realize that the strength you've been searching for has been inside you all along, waiting for you to set it free. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The storms will still come, the waves will still rise, but now you'll face them with a strength that cannot be shaken, a resilience that cannot be broken. Because you are not the person you were when this journey began. You are stronger, you are wiser, you are unstoppable. And their regret will come in waves they can't stop, but your rise will come in waves they can't stop, but your rise will come like the tide, steady, relentless, and unstoppable. You've come far, haven't you? You've walked through the darkness, braved the storm, and faced the waves that sought to drown you. And now, here you stand, not just surviving, but on the edge of something extraordinary. This is the moment, your moment, the one where everything you've endured finally makes sense, where the pain, the struggle, the heartbreak, it all aligns, revealing the truth you've been searching for. You are more powerful than you ever imagined. This does not have to be so lonely. I'm creating a charity where reclaiming you're powerful and you ever imagined. Let's pause for a second. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what if? What if the waves they sent to drown you were the same waves that taught you how to swim? What if the fire they set to destroy you was the same fire that forged you into something unbreakable? What if every setback, every failure, every tear was not a punishment but a lesson, a gift, a stepping stone on the path to your greatness? You've doubted it for so long, haven't you? You've told yourself you're not ready, not strong enough, not worthy. But let's challenge that. What if those doubts were never yours to begin with? What if they were planted by people who feared your potential, who saw your light and tried to dim it before it could outshine their own? What if you've been carrying their fears, their insecurities, their regrets, not yours, all this time? Because here's the thing. People fear what they cannot control. And the moment they saw you, the real you, they knew. They knew you were destined for more. They knew that your rise would overshadow their mediocrity. And so they tried to stop you. They underestimated you, dismissed you, tried to make you feel small. But their mistake? It wasn't in doubting you. It was in giving you something to prove. Close your eyes and picture it. Picture the version of yourself they tried to bury, the one they said was too broken, too weak, too lost. Now picture that same version of you standing tall, scars shining like armor, a fire blazing in your eyes. Can you see it? That's not just a dream. That's your reality waiting to be claimed. Because here's the truth they never wanted you to realize. You were never weak. You were never broken. You were becoming. The waves didn't drown you, they taught you. The storm didn't destroy you, it cleansed you. The fire didn't consume you, it refined you. And now, you are something they cannot control, cannot predict, cannot stop. You are the force they feared you would become. And their regret, it will come in waves they can't stop, because they will see what they tried to deny. Your power, your brilliance, your rise. Do you feel it? That shift within you? That quiet voice growing louder, telling you that you are enough, that you always were, that the things you thought were flaws are actually your greatest strengths, that the wounds you thought would never heal have turned into battle scars, proof that you are a warrior, not a victim. Power is not neglected, I say, but like any gift, it's gifted with life. Let me tell you what happens next. The moment you embrace your strength, the world begins to change, not because it bends to your will, but because you no longer let it define you. You stop asking for permission to exist, to dream, to thrive. You take up space unapologetically, boldly, as if you've always belonged, because you have. Picture your future now, not the one they told you was out of reach, but the one you know you deserve. Picture yourself walking into rooms where you once felt small, head held high, shoulders back, owning every inch of your power. Picture their faces, the ones who doubted you, dismissed you, underestimated you, as they realize they were wrong, as they see the strength they tried to crush shining brighter than ever. For the sky in this land is falling, literally, every single day, and the doomsday clock reaches for you. But don't do it for them. Their regret is not your goal. It's merely a byproduct of your rise. Do it for you. Do it for the person you've always been, the one who fought through the pain, the one who refused to give up even when giving up seemed like the only option. Do it for the future you, the one who will look back on this moment and thank you for choosing to rise. Because that's what this is, a choice, a decision to stop surviving and start thriving, a commitment to yourself, to your dreams, to the life you know you were meant to live. And once you make that choice, there is no going back. Growth is inevitable, transformation is unstoppable. The tides will turn, and you will be the force driving them. Let me paint the picture of your triumph. Imagine a day not far from now when you stand in the fullness of your power, when the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are nothing but stepping stones in your journey, when the people who doubted you are forced to watch as you achieve what they said you couldn't, when you no longer seek their approval because you've found something far greater, your own. Imagine the impact of your rise, not just on you, but on those who witness it, the people who see your strength and are inspired to find their own. The ones who hear your story and realize they too can overcome. Your rise is not just for you, it's a ripple effect, a tidal wave of change that touches everyone it reaches. Or so always look out for one another. Until then, keep living, so that you can keep living. And here's the best part. The journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. The moment you embrace your power, the possibilities become endless. You will achieve things you once thought impossible. You will become someone you once only dreamed of being, and every step you take will serve as a reminder that you are unstoppable. So I'll ask you one more time, what if? What if the waves they sent to drown you were the same waves that taught you how to swim? What if the storm that tore through your life was the same storm that cleared the path for your future? What if the fire that tried to consume you was the same fire that lit your way? The answer isn't just a possibility, it's a promise. Because the moment you decide to rise, there is nothing that can hold you back. You are the wave, the storm, the fire, and the regret? It will come in waves they can't stop because you have become something they can never undo. Unstoppable. It's time to take everything we've uncovered, the pain, the strength, the transformation, and channel it into action. Because realization without movement is just a dream. And you were made for more than dreams. You were made to live, to rise, to become. This is your moment to step into the power that's always been yours and claim the life that's waiting for you. It's not just about breaking free from the chains of your past. It's about building something unbreakable in their place. 1. Declare rebellion against your limits. No more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect time. The rebellion starts now. Every step you take from this moment forward is an act of defiance against the doubts, fears, and limits that once held you back. They told you to stay small, to play it safe, to settle for less, but you're done listening. This is your uprising, and it starts with a single, powerful decision. I choose to rise. Say it out loud, write it down, let it echo through your mind until it becomes your truth. Every action you take is now a rebellion against anything that tells you you can't, because you can, and you will. 2. Build the roadmap for your rise. Rising doesn't happen by accident. It happens through deliberate, relentless action. Here's your roadmap. Establish daily habits of growth. Start small, but stay consistent. Write down one thing you'll do each day to move closer to the life you want. Maybe it's journaling to understand yourself better. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier to plan your day. Maybe it's reaching out for help when you need it. Each habit is a brick in the foundation of your transformation. Simplifying your habits, whether a few hundred words or a few thousand words, will change your life forever. Cut toxic influences. Look around you. Who or what is draining your energy? What voices make you doubt yourself? It's time to let go of anyone or anything that keeps you tethered to the past. This is not an act of anger, it's an act of love for yourself. You deserve an environment that nurtures your growth, not one that stifles it. Set clear, unshakable boundaries. Your time, energy, and emotions are sacred. Protect them. Learn to say no to what doesn't serve you, and yes to what aligns with your goals. Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to the life you deserve. Embrace a growth mindset. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity. Shift your focus from what you can't do to what you can learn. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Growth is not about where you start, it's about where you're headed. Surround yourself with strength. Find your tribe. Seek out people who inspire you, challenge you, and remind you of your power. Let their energy lift you higher, and be the person who does the same for them. Together, you'll create a wave of change that no one can stop. Take relentless action. There will be days when it feels impossible, when the weight of the past tries to pull you back. On those days, remind yourself of this. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. Keep moving. One step, one choice, one action. Every day, without fail. 3. Reframe your scars as strength. Look at your scars, both seen and unseen. They are not signs of weakness. They are proof of your survival. They are the stories of battles fought and won. Let them remind you of everything you've overcome, of the resilience that courses through your veins. You don't have to hide them. You don't have to explain them. You only need to own them. Your scars are your armor now. They are what make you unique, what make you powerful. And when the world sees them, let them see not a victim, but a warrior. 4. Write your next chapter. Your story doesn't end here. This is only the beginning. From this moment forward, every decision, every action, every step is a new chapter in a story that is entirely yours. What do you want it to say? What legacy will you leave behind? What mark will you make on the world? You hold the pen, and the page is blank. Write boldly, write fiercely, write without apology. 5. Visualize the future that awaits you. Close your eyes and imagine it. A life where you are free from the weight of their doubts and your own fears. A life where you walk boldly in your truth, unafraid, unshaken, unstoppable. Picture the faces of those who doubted you as they watch your rise, their regret crashing over them like a relentless wave. But most importantly, picture yourself. Strong, confident, radiant. That future isn't a fantasy. It's waiting for you, just beyond this moment. All you have to do is take the first step. 6. End with power. You are the ocean. This is where your transformation becomes undeniable. It's not enough to rise. You must own your power, fully and unapologetically. You are not the person they tried to break. You are not the shadow of their doubts. You are the storm they feared, the wave they couldn't stop, the fire they couldn't extinguish. And when their regret comes in waves, let it drown their doubts. Let it remind them of everything they tried to take from you and everything they failed to destroy. Because you have become the ocean, vast, unstoppable, infinite. This is your time, your story, your rise. Go claim it. It takes courage to face yourself, to look at the pain, the scars, the storms, and choose to rise anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward in spite of it. And you, standing here at the edge of your transformation, have shown that courage. You've looked into the depths and found the strength to climb out. That is no small thing. That is the beginning of something extraordinary. Remember this, your rise is not just for you. It's for everyone who will see your strength and find their own. It's for the ones who feel lost, broken, and alone. The ones who need to know that survival is possible, that thriving is possible, that transformation is possible. You are not just changing your life, You are creating a ripple effect that will inspire others to do the same. You are the proof that rising is worth it, that the fight is worth it. Speak. And as you move forward, let this truth guide you. You are unstoppable. You are the ocean, relentless, expansive, and untamed. The waves may rise against you, but they will never drown you, because you are no longer the person who waits to be saved. You are the force that reshapes the tides, the strength that turns pain into power, the light that guides others home. Carry this with you. When doubt creeps in, when the waves rise again, remember who you've become. You are more than enough. You always were. And now, the world will see it too. This is your time. Go out and claim it. Let the waves come, because you have become the ocean.